Hello and welcome to Unruffled Baking. I hope you enjoy today's allergy-friendly recipe.
Today we are making hot cross buns. You will need 65 grams of stewed apple. Instructions on how to stew apples are at the end of the video. 680 grams strong white flour. 80 grams of dairy-free margarine. 135 milliliters of cold water mixed with 135 milliliters of boiling water to make 270 milliliters of warm water. 70 grams of golden caster sugar. 160 grams of mixed dried fruit. A pinch of salt. 15 grams of mixed spice. 15 grams of instant yeast. A knife and a spoon. 2 floured baking trays. You will also need something to cover the baking trays. You can use a plastic bag or a plastic box. Something to cover the bowls with. A sieve. A mixing bowl. To make the cross, you will need 100 grams of strong white flour, 15 grams of dairy-free margarine, a pinch of salt, a pinch of sugar, 100 milliliters of water, a small mixing bowl, a piping bag or a plastic food bag with the corner cut off, a large jug. To make the glaze for the buns, you will need 10 milliliters of boiling water, 2 teaspoons of sugar, half a teaspoon of mixed spice, a spoon, a pastry brush. To make the buns, add the flour to the mixing bowl. Then add the sugar, mixed spice, pinch of salt and yeast, and stir it in thoroughly. Add the dairy-free margarine and cut it up with a knife. Rub in the dairy-free margarine. Sieve the stewed apple into the warm water. Remember to scrape all of the pulp off the bottom of the sieve. Stir the apple into the warm water. Add the warm water and the apple to the flour mix, stirring continuously. Keep stirring until you have a soft dough. Bring the dough together with your hands and knead it lightly in the bowl. You can then either lightly flour the work surface and knead the dough by hand for 10 minutes, or you can place the dough in an electric mixer with a dough hook. Knead the dough for 4 minutes on the lowest setting. Then scrape the dough off of the hook. Then knead the dough for a further 4 minutes. Now it's time to add the mixed fruit. Lightly flour the work surface. Stretch the dough out into an oblong shape. Sprinkle the dried fruit into the centre of the oblong. Fold the dough over the dried fruit, and then knead the dough until the dried fruit is evenly distributed through the dough. Place the dough in a bowl and cover it. Set the bowl aside in a warm place to allow it to rise. The dough should double in size. This should take about 30 to 50 minutes. Now we need to make the batter to make the crosses for the hot cross buns. Put the flour, salt and sugar into a large jug. Melt the dairy-free margarine in the microwave for about 10 seconds on a low setting. Add the melted margarine to the water. Pour the water and margarine into the dry ingredients and stir it in. Beat the batter to remove any lumps of flour. Then cover the jug and set it aside. Now back to the buns. Once the dough has doubled in size, you need to knock it back. The most satisfying way to do this is to punch the middle of the dough and let it sink. Then use your scraper to remove the dough from the bowl. Place the dough on a lightly floured work surface and knead a little to knock all the air out of it. Some of the fruit will fall out, but just pop it back in. Lightly flour the work surface once more and then form the dough into a sausage shape. Cut the sausage shape in half and divide each half into roughly 8 equal portions. You will end up with 16 portions of dough. Form each portion into a nicely rounded ball. Place the buns on lightly floured trays about a finger's width apart. Then cover the trays. Plastic boxes are ideal for this. Set the trays aside to prove or rise again. This will take 40 to 60 minutes. Preheat the oven to 210 degrees Celsius. Once the buns have risen, it's time to add the crosses. Pour the batter into a piping bag. Remember to hold the bottom of the bag shut so that the batter doesn't pour out the bottom. Pipe a line of batter across your buns one way, and then each individual bun the other way to make a cross on each bun. Cook in the preheated oven on the middle shelf for 12 minutes. Then take them out and turn the tray around and cook for a further 3 minutes until they are golden brown. While the buns are cooking, make the glaze. Add the mixed spice to the sugar. Then add the boiling water and stir it in thoroughly until the sugar has dissolved. As soon as the buns are out of the oven, paint the glaze on top of the buns. You can eat them while they're still warm, or you can toast them and have them with dairy-free margarine. Leave the buns to cool for 2 to 3 minutes, then use a knife or a palette knife to cut between the buns and gently lift them from the tray. Place them on a wire rack and allow them to cool. Now you have made hot cross buns. To make the stewed apple, you will need 1 finely sliced cooking apple, which should be about 250 grams, 150 milliliters of water, 70 grams of granulated sugar. To make the stewed apple, place the cooking apple in the saucepan and add the sugar and water. Give it a mix. Bring the apple to the boil and simmer for about 30 minutes or until the apple has broken down. Stir the apple occasionally.
I hope you enjoyed this video. If you found it helpful, please like and subscribe.